Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining me today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. So yes, we're going to be taking a look at something completely different, a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it was something I wanted to kind of explore. I've had a little experience with some of these Japanese whiskeys and have kind of always found the profile very interesting on some of these. So I wanted to kind of dive into this and hit you guys with something a little bit different and out of the norm for me. And this is what we're gonna kind of attempt to do that with today. So what exactly is this? So hopefully I don't butcher this too badly, but so this is a Kaiyo whiskey, and this is finished in Japanese Mizunara oak. This is an actual single barrel that was done by Don's Liquor and Wine. This specifically is barrel number 1646. So in itself, a Japanese whiskey with a single barrel, I think is somewhat unique. So this was something that was even a little bit more interesting to me, knowing that it was actually a single barrel Japanese whiskey. And it was just something I wanted to kind of dive into. Again, I felt, some of these Japanese whiskeys are very interesting in terms of their profiles, and you'll see what this one is like today. So this is coming in at 112 proof or 56% ABV. It is non-chill filtered, so that's already a nice plus right there. Mash bill, so again, it's going to be a single grain, so it's going to be a malted barley, again, that they finish in the Japanese Mizunara oak. It is non-age stated, and the MSRP on this is going to be right around that $100 price point, which in kind of doing some research for kind of a higher quality Japanese whiskey, that doesn't seem to be very, kind of out of the norm, kind of a little bit more of a normal type of price range for what it is that I think you're going to be getting here. So let's go ahead and we'll kind of dive into it, and stick with me here. I'm really excited to kind of do this for you guys. And hopefully you'll comment, let me know, your thoughts on some of these Japanese whiskeys as we kind of go through the review. So, all right, color-wise, as you can see, kind of a light gold type of color. Move the whiskey around in the glass a little bit, really nice oils. So it's kind of putting a nice ring on the glass. They're not running very quickly, so that's always a good thing. It's nice that it is non-chill filtered. So, all right, let's get into the nose here. Oh boy, so very interesting. So my first thought right away is this nice big hint of like honey graham cracker, honey graham cereal. If you've ever had that cereal where, again, it has that kind of nice caramel and honeys and all of that, a little bit of like a toasted aspect, it's very much that right away. Really nice kind of vanilla notes. Nice spice, not overly spicy, but there is a kind of a slight spice that's there. Some citrus. This is more of a lemon citrus, or like a lemon cake. Nice sweet oak. And again, I don't know the overall influence that the Mizunara oak has on a whiskey. So yeah, again, if you know a little bit more about what that may do to a whiskey, leave a comment below. I'd be interested in knowing that. Yeah, definitely that sweet oak. Even a light, like maybe powdered chocolate, like not quite milk chocolate, but more of like a powdered chocolate. Even a little bit of like a hay or a straw note. Some pastry notes there as well, like more of like a donut. Some nice light fruits, more green fruits, things along those lines. Maybe like a pear or grapes, something along those lines. Like a green apple. I know green apple is not a fruit. People have beat me up over that. I've said it one other time and I lumped it in with a fruit, and I know it's not. But there's a little bit of a green apple aspect to this as well. And I'd say here is probably where a little bit more of the malted barley is beginning to come through. So there's more of like that cereal note. Now I know I had mentioned before like the Honey Graham's cereal, but this is more of the influence of like just a cornflakes type of cereal note. There's just this overall like softness there. smells like it would be creamy, but it's still very soft, approachable. Yeah, there's a little bit of that toasted aspect to it, maybe like a kind of what you'd get from like a toasted barrel. Yeah, as I move the glass away, a little bit of like maybe even like a coconut aspect there as well. Something tropical about it. Maybe this was a little part of the fruit aspect that's coming out, but this is a little bit more of the tropical side of things. Maybe even a little bit of marshmallow. A lot going on this thing. So that's something that's very unique. I mean, this profile on this, it's kind of all over the place, but still very complex all at the same time. Yeah, it's very layered. So that's something I like when you're kind of nosing a whiskey, is being able to kind of take your time and kind of break down some of the things that you're either nosing, and or tasting. That's one of the fun experiences with whiskey, and this is giving me exactly that. Yeah, really, really nice nose. So, all right, more importantly, let's see how this one is going to taste. Cheers. Very, very fruit forward. So again, some of those like either tropical fruits or green fruits, something along those lines, but very fruit forward. Still get that honey graham cereal note like immediately. Nice spice, more spice on the palate than I was picking up on the nose. I wouldn't say the oak influence is overly dominant. There's a little bit of oak presence there that's on this. Still some of that kind of vanilla pastry on here as well. Nice coffee note there. Does not drink like 112 proof, I would say that. I mean, it is, with this profile, it's very crushable. Lends itself to probably wanting to drink a little quicker than you probably should be. Just got a nice little kind of a tobacco, like more of a pipe tobacco note on it. Slight bit of dryness that's there. More of a sweet oak. The oak that's there, it's a little bit on the sweeter side. There's nothing that's been overly like pungent or tannic or anything along those lines. It's more of those kind of like lighter fruits, tropical fruits that are there. That, again, that honey graham cereal. You still get the malted barley aspect to it, so you do get that kind of like a cornflake aspect as well. But even a little bit of like that lemon cake that's there as well. There's a little bit of like a lemon citrus on this one. Yeah, I don't get before on the nose, I got more of like what you used to kind of think of in the bourbon world as like a younger or youthful whiskey, where you get more of that, like a hay or a straw, but I'm not getting that really on the palate as well. Yeah, nice lemon, nice fruitiness that's there to it. A little more spice begins to come out, a little more oak. Not dominant in the oak by any means. Nice medium spice on that. A little bit more of the tobacco notes, a little more drying. So the more you sip on it, for me, begins to kind of dry out the palate, a little bit more. But again, remains fairly, kind of even across the board. So you got these layers of flavors that are kind of nice to kind of dive into, sit there, take your time, figure out a little bit more about what it is that, that you're sipping on. So it's really an interesting, whiskey. Would I mind sitting down with this? Now, this again coming from a bourbon and rye person for the most part, I would have no problem. I think this is different, unique enough, and very enjoyable to want to sit down and try this, share it with somebody, whatever it may be. and just kind of enjoy, enjoy it for what it is. Again, I like the idea that it's a single barrel, it's a higher proof, Japanese whiskey, so it's got a lot of those things going for it. So something very, very interesting. Mouthfeel, so something again very important. It's not super viscous, but again, at the same time, it's not so thin that you're constantly searching for something. I think it's probably just kind of even across the board. Pretty decent finish, I would say, though. The finish on this is probably more in that, medium plus range. And again, you do get that kind of lingering spice. The more you sip on it or it sits on the palate, the more the spice part of it kind of continues to linger. Again, definitely some of that like lemon cake. Nice vanilla, like a vanilla pastry of some sort. Again, nice medium plus finish. A little more oak, a little more dryness that's there. And again, there's that kind of that malty characteristic to it as well that you get from the malted barley. Still lingers. It's nice. I mean, it's a really nice Japanese whiskey, and I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on, is this something that you've tried before? Maybe not specifically this barrel. Even though you can, I'll have linked in the description below to this specific barrel. So if what I've described to you today is of interest to you, I'll have that linked below so that if you want to make that purchase, do the comparisons, let me know if you do pick it up, let me know your overall thoughts on it. But in terms of Japanese whiskey in general, I love to hear people's thoughts, feedback, all of that on, kind of what it is that you're getting as well. For me, I enjoy it. I enjoy this whiskey for what it is. I know it's different. It's not going to be a bourbon or a rye. I understand that. So that's one of the things that's intriguing to me about the Japanese whiskeys, just because of what it is that they offer. To me, it drinks a little bit more along the lines of like kind of an American single malt is what I would compare it to. Wouldn't really compare this necessarily, to a Scotch, even though I don't have a great deal of experience with Scotches. This to me is a little bit more in line with an American single malt. So take that for what it is. Again, I enjoy this. I'll have this linked in the description below if you're looking for a Japanese whiskey that I think is a fairly high quality whiskey. So for what it is, again, I'm good with what this is, the price, all of that. So I want to say thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. Greatly appreciated. I know this was a little bit different, and I appreciate you guys kind of sticking with me on this one. If you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which I'll have linked in the description below. That also allows you to be part of the Mashin Journey Whiskey Club. And really what that is so Jason and I from the Mash and Drum put this whiskey club together, and we do barrel picks. We get people involved. We try to bring things that are different, unique to all of the patrons. So if it's of interest to you, consider that link in the description below as well. So again, thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. And as always, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.